This documentary consists of the following: the defilement, abomination, and desolation of the beginning and the end. It is foretold in Hebrew 12:26, at that time his voice shook the earth, but now he has promised, once more I will shake not only the earth, but also the heavens. The Watchers. Who and what are they? Isaiah 14:12. How you have fallen from heaven, morning star, son of dawn. You have been cast down to the earth, you who once laid low the nations. Luke 10:17-19. The 17 returned with joy, saying, Lord, even the demons are subject to us in your name. And he said to them, I was watching Satan fall from heaven like lightning. Behold, I have given you authority to tread on serpents and scorpions, and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing will injure you. Genesis 6:4. There were giants on the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them. The same became mighty men, which were of the old, men of renown. The Hebrew, English Nephilim, word for giants, Nephilim, literally means the fallen down ones, because these tall celestial beings fell from the sky. Their half-breed progeny and their descendants are often mentioned in the early books of the Old Testament until the last of them were finally killed off. They were known as the Rephaim, Hebrew for phantoms, Amim, Anakim, Horim, Avim, and Zamzamim, Anunnaki, the fallen. The Bible quotes confirm that the Anunnaki had offspring called the Nephilim that were giants. The Anunnaki are the Watchers. Moloch and Rephaim, calf idol and its star. Generations of Moses, disobedient Egyptian Jews, whom worship traditionally through generations false gods like today's Jews. Psalms 106:34-43. They did not destroy the peoples as the Lord had commanded them to, but mingled with the nations and imitated their ways. They served their idols and were ensnared by them. They sacrificed to demons their own sons and daughters, shedding innocent blood, the blood of their own sons and daughters, whom they sacrificed to the idols of Canaan, desecrating the land with bloodshed. They defiled themselves by their actions, became adulterers by their conduct. So the Lord grew angry with his people, abhorred his own heritage. He handed them over to the nations and their adversaries, ruled over them. Their enemies oppressed them, kept them under subjection. Many times did he rescue them, but they kept rebelling and scheming and were brought low by their own guilt. Again, Moloch, Rephaim, the idol and the star of the disobedient Jews. Acts 7:43. Yea, took up the tabernacle of Moloch, and the star of your god Rephaim, figures which you are made to worship them, and I will carry you away beyond Babylon. Deuteronomy 29:26. They went off and worshiped other gods and bowed down to them, gods they did not know, gods he had not given them. Amos 5:25-27. Did you present me with sacrifices and grain offerings in the wilderness for 40 years, O house of Israel? You also carried along Sikkah, your king, and Kagan, your images, the star of your gods which you made for yourselves. Therefore I will make you go into exile beyond Damascus, says the Lord, whose name is the God of hosts. King David never was given a star. No part or place in the Holy Scriptures does such a star exist, except when God condemns it. Acts 7:42-43. But God turned away and delivered them up to serve the host of heavens, the fallen angels. And it is written in the book of the prophets, it was not to me that you offered victims and sacrifices 40 years in the wilderness, was it, O house of Israel? You also took along the tabernacle of Moloch and the star of your god Rephaim, the images which you made to worship. I also will remove you beyond Babylon. Isaiah 17:5. It will be as when reapers harvest the standing grain, gathering the grain in their arms, as when someone gleans heads of grain in the valley of Rephaim. Amos 5:26. You have lifted up the shrine of your king, the pedestal of your idols, the star of your God, which you made for yourselves. You're probably asking, what does one have to do with the other? Well, it's all satanic worship and praise of fallen angels, Nephilim, giants, devil, demons, jinn, evil spirits, and all of its evil ways. In Enoch chapter 6:1 it says, And it came to pass when the children of men had multiplied, that in those days were born unto them comely daughters. And the angels, the children of heaven, saw and lusted after them, and said to one another, Come, let us choose us wives from among the children of men, and beget us children. And Samayatsah, Satan the devil, who was their leader, said unto them, regarding the oath to enter unto the daughters of men. Enoch then continued to discuss in detail the deal oath Satan makes with the fellow 200 chief watchers who all commit the same sin by sexually entering unto the daughter. They once in the heavens had beautiful, angelic heavenly bodies created by God. But due to the wretched deed they swore to do, the Lord stripped them of their glory for defiling their holy being. And the Lord cursed them and removed their original holy appearance, as he did with Nebuchadnezzar in the book of Daniel. Nebuchadnezzar's dream of the great tree, the angelic watchers. Let his mind be changed from that of a man, and let a beast's mind be given to him. And let 7 periods of time pass over him. This sentence is by the decree of the angelic watchers, and the decisions it is a command of the holy ones, in order that the living may know that the Most High is ruler over the realm of mankind, and bestows it on whom he wishes, and sets over it the lowest of men. This is the dream which I, King Nebuchadnezzar, had seen. Books of the cave of treasures. Behold, from the time the fall until the present day, he and all his hosts are stripped of their apparel and their bodies, and they go naked, unclothed, and have horrible faces. Anglo-Saxon Bible Codex Junius 11. Pale their beauty marred, the fallen angels miserably wretched, wandered through the loathsome pit because of the presumed to his deeds, an unholy act which formerly they brought, swore to do with the daughters of men against God's perfect image. Does the book of Enoch have any biblical holy truth to it, you ask? And its fallen angel's testimony. Yes, all the disciples read and knew of it. They read and testified throughout the whole Bible regarding it. And its fallen angel's testimony. Jude 1:6-7. And the angels which kept not their first estate, but left their own habitation, he has reserved in the everlasting chains under darkness until the judgment of the great day. Even as Sodom and Gomorrah and the cities about them, in like manner, giving themselves over to fornication and going after strange flesh, are set forth for an example, suffering the vengeance of eternal fire of God's wrath. And now Lamech's father, Methuselay, grandfather of Noah, and their testimony regarding the fallen ones and their seeds. And after some days my son, Methuselay, took a wife for his son Lamech, and she became pregnant by him and bore him a son. And his body was white as snow and red as a rose, the hair of his head as white as wool, and his damdama, long curly hair, beautiful. And as for his eyes, when he opened them, the whole house glowed like the sun. And his father Lamech was afraid of him, and fled and went to Methuselay his father. And he said to him, I have begotten a strange son. He is not like an ordinary human being, but he looks like the children of the angels of heaven to me. His form is different, and he is not like us. It does not seem to me that he is of me, but of angels. And Lamech starts voicing his suspicion concerning the suspected non-found infidelity of his wife, Bethanush. Behold, I thought then within my heart that a conception was due to the watchers and the holy ones, and to the Nephilim, and my heart was troubled within me because of this child. Turning to his obviously distraught wife, Lamech makes her swear by the Most High that she will tell him the truth and admit if she has laid with anyone else. In reply, she beseeches him to accept her word, saying, O my Lord, my pleasure, I swear to ye by the Holy One, the King of the heavens, that this seed is yours and that this conception is from you. This fruit was planted by you and by no stranger or watcher or son of heaven. I speak to you truthfully. And Methuselay has tracked Lamech down in the far-off land referred to in Genesis and Apocryphon as Parween or Paradise. And conveying the fears of his son Lamech, the ever-righteous Enoch throws light on the situation when he states, I have already seen this matter in a vision and made it known to you. For in the generations of Jared, my father, they, the angels, transgressed the word of the Lord. This is the law of heaven. And behold, they commit sin and transgress against the commandments. They have united themselves with women and commit sin together with them, and they have married wives from among them and begotten children by them. And upon the earth they shall give birth to giants, not of the spirit, but of the flesh. There shall be great plague, and the earth shall be washed clean by the deluge from the corruption. Now make known to your son Lamech that the son who has been born is indeed righteous, and call his name Noah, for he shall be the remnant for you, and he and his son shall be saved from the corruption which shall come upon the earth. 2 Peter 2:4-5. For if God did not spare the angels when they sinned, but cast them into the hell, and committed them to pits of darkness reserved for judgment, and did not spare the ancient world, but saved Noah, a preacher of righteousness, with 7 others when he brought a flood upon the world of the ungodly. Revelations 12:9. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil, and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. Matthew 25:41. Then shall he say unto them on the left hand, Depart from me, ye cursed, into everlasting fire, prepared for the devil and his angels. Solomon, Queen Sheba's son Melech, the book Kabra Nagast. The test of worthiness and the fall of the angels. For everyone who has conquered is mighty, and he who is conquered shall be overpowered. Now Satan has no power whatsoever, for he has only what he maketh to germinate in the mind. And he cannot grasp firmly, and he cannot perform anything. And he cannot beat, and he cannot drag. And he cannot seize, and he cannot fight. He can only make thoughts to germinate silently in the mind. And him who is caught by the evil mind he prepareth for destruction. And if a man has conquered the evil mind, he findeth grace and has a reward which is everlasting. And to you according to what ye wish, there shall be upon you the mind of man and the body of a man. But take good heed to yourselves that you transgress not my word and break my commandments. And defile not yourselves with eating or drinking or fornicating or with any other thing whatsoever, and transgress you not my word. And straightway there was given unto them with his word flesh and blood, and a heart of the children of men. And they were content to leave the heights of heaven, and they came down to earth to the folly of the dancing of the children of Cain, with all their works of artisan, which they had made in the folly of their fornication, and to their singing, which they accompanied with the tambourines, the flutes, and the pipes, and much shouting, and loud cries of joy, and noisy songs. And their daughters were there, and they enjoyed orgies without shame, for they scented themselves for the men who pleased them, and they lost the balance of their minds. And the men did not restrain themselves for a moment, but they took to wives from among the women those whom had chosen, and committed sin with them. For God is no resting place in the hearts of an arrogant and those who revile, but he abideth in the hearts of the humble and those who are sincere. And he spoke in the gospel, saying, Woe be unto those who make themselves righteous and despise their neighbors. And again he says, God loveth the humble, and he holdeth lightly those who magnify themselves. And straightway God wroth with them, and he bound them in the terror of Shaul until the day of redemption. As the apostle said, he treated his angels with severity, He spared them not, but made them to dwell in a state of judgment, and they were fettered until the great day. Enoch, he whom God called righteous, is his book worthy of our faith and truth? Yes, he and his holy words from God are, shall be, and is. For us now at the appointed time in these end of days. The final state of the Nephilim. Because they were born from men and from holy watchers in their beginning and primal origin, they shall be evil spirits, devils and demons on the earth, and evil spirits shall they be called. And the spirits of the giants will afflict, oppress, destroy, attack, do battle, and work destruction on the earth, and cause trouble. They will take no food, but nevertheless hunger, and their thirst and cause offenses. And these spirits shall rise up against the children of men and against the women, because they have proceeded from them. And next, we move on to Kingdom of the Giants. The Nephilim, it is said, created the dinosaurs by mixing bird, reptile, and bovine DNA. It hints at this in the book of Enoch. And all the others together with them took unto themselves wives, and each chose for himself one, and they began to go into and unto them, and to defile themselves with them. And they taught them enchantments and charms, and the cutting of roots, and made them acquainted with plants. And they became pregnant, and they bare great giants, whose heights was 3,000 ells, who consumed all the acquisitions of men. And when men could no longer sustain them, the giants turned against them and devoured mankind. And they, the giants, began to sin against birds and beasts and reptiles and fish, and to devour one another's flesh and drink the blood. This passage is taken from the book of Noah and Enoch, and it is referring to the race of giants who began carrying out genetic experiments on animals. They began mixing the DNA of different species of animals and produced hybrid creatures, which today we know as dinosaurs, but back then they labeled them dragons. Being that there was giants, the blood DNA was probably mixed by them with the animals, which explains their sizes. Let us remember these are the sons and daughters of fallen angels, and the secrets of DNA mixing and breeding they would know through the fathers. It seems the Nephilim went further and mixed their DNA with animals, thus bringing forth a legion of strange humanoids, creatures, such as lizard men, reptoids, reptilians, goat men, fish men, mermaids, and many other defiled abominations, which likely perished in the flood which God sent to wipe out the giants and their creations, the children of fallen angels. Defile or abomination, as God defines it in the holy words, are things unnatural from natural. The word defile and abomination directly means sex, and devour clearly means eat. If you do your research, it becomes highly evident that sinning against the animal means mixing the DNA of various sovereign species and creating serious defilements and abominations against what God created perfect, including bestiality and unnatural. It is very clear that in exhibiting all the evidence through reading all the holy books, Satan, the Watchers, and their breed simply were trying to create their own species, population to conquer God's perfect creation and the earth. And God, through Noah, limited their defiled and abomination empire's growth through Noah's days. But in Revelations 9:7, it is clear that in the end of days, before God's arrival on the second time, they shall come forth from under and from within the earth, called locusts. May this documentary help and bless others to see the truth and light of things to come soon. During the tribulation stage, we shall see them come forth. Blessed are they whom have prepared their minds and hearts for such an abomination. The end. In the name of Yahweh, the Alpha, the beginning, and the holy name of Joshua, the Omega, the end. Both physical and spiritual bodies, one powerful temple and kingdom. God bless us all. Shalom. Ciao.